Hello, everyone. Good morning. I am Laura Manqui from Flourish Empowerment Coaching. And if you are watching this as a replay, thank you so much for being here. I answer all questions and comments that come up even after I'm talking here. So please feel free to add on your comments or ask any questions. I will get back to you. Today, we are going to be talking about bad bosses. Bad bosses. I think this theme hit a nerve when I announced it, because a lot of people came out and said, wow, that's a good topic, and that's really interesting. So hopefully this will be of help to you. Bad bosses. There are all types of bad bosses. I've had many of them. Hopefully you haven't had too many, but I have. I've had bosses that are micromanagers. I have bosses that have been totally inexistent and haven't helped me at all. I have had bosses that have only been worried about climbing the corporate ladder. And so I had no support from that boss. I have had bosses that have just thrown me under the bus. And there's a lot of worse out there too. There's abusive bosses, right? Or maybe rude bosses, or hey, Rich. So we're going to talk about bad bosses. And what we're going to try to think about is, if we have a bad boss, what can we do about it? Are we totally blocked if we have a bad boss? If we have a bad boss, can we continue doing our work? Can we continue growing professionally? And I'm here to say that yes, we're going to be talking about a tool that we can use in 3 different ways, which I hope will give you a different perspective and will help you to continue on your road to professional fulfillment in spite of a bad boss. So to begin, I'm going to tell you a little story about a horrible boss that I had. It was the worst boss. I don't know if the worst boss ever, but he was just the worst. He was the worst, okay? He was a person who arrived to our team when the team was already formed. So he wasn't happy that I was in the position that I was. He would have wished for another person, probably. That was probably the reason he acted in the way he did. But he was the type of person who would speak badly about me and my work to my colleagues, to his superiors, and to our clients. And I found out about this. I had the suspicion that, I wasn't his favorite, but I found out about this because colleagues would come to me and say, what's going on here? Clients also. So it was a very stressful and uncomfortable time for me. And to top it all off, this person really represented everything that I felt was kind of wrong with the corporate environment. So he was very much about, saying things that sounded right, kind of showing that he was doing things correctly. And he was always thinking about climbing this corporate ladder. So it made everything worse because really, he did not like me, I did not like him, and it was just bad. And so what happened? I was concentrated on him, right? I was concentrated on how he was making my life horrible, how in the opportunity that he had, he would throw me under the bus. And I would complain. I would complain to my family. So I'd get home, complain to my husband. I'd speak to family members. I'd tell them that I was having this big problem. When I'd get together with friends, I was always, it was just bad, bad, bad. I was in this place where complaining and totally focused on the negative part of my work. So complaining obviously doesn't help at all when you are in a bad situation. And what happens when we are in this kind of situations, when there's someone who's blocking us from doing our best job possible, we focus all our attention on that person. And it's like we are looking at a wall and we're banging ourselves against that wall, right, banging ourselves against that wall. So I'm going to talk to you about a tool that's called reframing. So let's just imagine in this situation, this frame, like a picture frame. And this frame is, in this picture frame, you're looking at it, and all you see is your horrible boss and yourself suffering, right? This is what you see in that moment. And when I was complaining to my family members, to my friends, this is all that I could see, right? This frame. We're going to try to move this frame to different things to see if they can help us to step back into our power and do something about our situation. So the first way to reframe is taking this frame and moving it from your boss to what you want to achieve in this job. How to do this? Think back to why you chose this job. Why did you choose this job? Right? What made you take this job? And is that reason still there? Is it strong enough to help you to push through these bad times? Understanding that this probably will not be your situation forever. So let me put an example to see if this makes a bit more sense. I once had a boss. I used to work at an airline. One of my first bosses, my manager, he would kind of punish me just for being a woman. And it sounds a bit extreme, but just to put a little bit of context, I was in charge of evaluating new technologies for this airline and seeing if they made sense for our business. And so there are many vendors who would invite me and my boss to their headquarters to see these things functioning and just to try to sell us what they were building and what they were trying to, what we were looking at implementing. And my manager at that time, even though I was the one implementing these technologies, and he was in charge of many areas in the airline, he would travel to these meetings. And his reason for me not being able to go to these meetings was that since I was a woman, people would, our colleagues, right, people who we worked with, might think that something was going on between us. That was, that was his reason. So I was, once again, I was punished just for being me. And it was hurtful, and it was, something that bothered me. But I enjoyed so much my work that I could put that aside because I really enjoyed what I was doing. And my objective at that time was to become a better professional. I didn't have much experience, learn about what I was learning, and just grow professionally. So I was able to kind of focus on that and leave this to one side. It wasn't that bad. It was something that I could, it was a trade-off. It was something I was paying for these bad moments, right, to be able to grow in this other aspect. So maybe that's something that you can do also. Take this frame and move it towards, am I still getting a benefit out of this job? And if I am, okay, I'm going to support this for some time. How much time? You decide. But it's the point is that you are able to make that trade-off and you accept that, right? It's not fun, but it's something that we can do in light of making this environment for us better and feeling better for ourselves and continuing with our professional growth. So that's the first way of reframing, looking at what we want. Now, just one note on that, maybe there's nothing, it's not worth it. Maybe that vision, maybe that reason doesn't exist anymore. So then that could be an opportunity to start looking for some other type of job, right? And start considering other options. Number two is taking this frame and, as I explained, we're very narrowed in. We're looking at our manager and our situation as something horrible. And it kind of takes up all of your frame. What if we were to expand this frame, right? And look at the bigger picture. And what is the bigger picture? The bigger picture can be, well, this is a job, right? It is not my whole professional life. It might look like it at the moment, but it isn't. And there are other important things in my life apart from my professional life where I will continue growing, right? Once this person leaves, or if I leave or things change. But also there are other aspects that are equally important, if not more important, where we can put our energy and our time into. So what do I mean by this? Sometimes when we're so concentrated on this bad manager and everything that's happening to ourselves, we forget about the other, we forget about taking care of ourselves in other aspects. So we start eating badly, right? We start, I don't know, drinking alcohol, something to numb us. We watch a lot of television maybe. So it happens that when an area of our life is not functioning very well, we kind of blow up other areas of our lives. Instead of saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to pull back a bit. I'm going to take my foot off the gas pedal in regards to work, and I'm going to put more concentration on maybe this side business that I have, or maybe my health. I used to work out. Maybe I want to start doing that again, or taking time to be with my family, and I'm just going to do enough work so things continue working, things continue. I have to work, right? I have to continue being professional, but maybe the perfectionism, I'll let go of that. Maybe all the extra energy and stress that I put into this job, I'll just leave it aside. I will continue doing my job, but my concentration will be on something more important for me, or something that I can consider more important, or more fun, or more motivating, right? We all know that, for example, when we're like really, really in love with someone, right? We've fallen in love, we forget about everything. The rest continues working, but it all falls back into another plane. It's not as important as what this new relationship. So we can create that. We can create that with a new business idea, right? A search for a new job. It's a change of focus. It's saying, okay, I have this bad manager and I have this bad situation, but I'm not going to focus on that anymore. I'm going to focus on making myself strong. I'm going to focus on making myself healthy. I'm going to focus on that next professional step. So that is the second way of reframing. Okay, we've talked about looking at our vision. We've talked about opening that frame a little bit to see that it's not the end of the world. And the last way of reframing is switching this frame from your boss and from you being a victim to yourself, okay? And how really it is kind of impossible for someone to take away all your power. You are powerful. You have power. And so instead of thinking, I am a victim because of this person, I'm a victim, and hitting yourself against that wall, it's saying, I am powerful. And how can I realize this? How can I notice that I am powerful? Well, you have choices. You have choices about what you can do at this moment. You are not tied into working with this person. You can start looking for a new job. Okay, so that's the first thing. You are powerful because you have choices. Maybe you don't have that choice. Well, you are also powerful because you can look for help. And sometimes looking for help in a business, in a corporation, can be tricky, but you can look for help externally, maybe with a coach to help you go through this emotionally and also to build yourself professionally. How are other ways that you can be powerful? Well, you can always be professional in everything that you do. So in my case with my boss, that he was acting in this unprofessional way, saying bad things about my work and saying bad things about me personally, ideally, which I did, but I did not have these tools at this moment, but the ideal would have been not to talk about, right? So not to talk about, not to complain, right? Not to play the same game, and to be able to say, okay, I do my work here, and things that I am really bad, a really bad professional, I know what I'm worth, and that is also powerful. So thinking, what are the ways that I can see myself powerful, and how can I step into this power? So 3 ways of reframing, right? Looking at what you want to achieve and if that still exists. Looking at the other things in your life that are very important and maybe where you can put your energy into. And also understanding that you do still have power. Okay? You still have the opportunity to take actions and to be your best self professionally. Notice that these 3 ways do not have anything to do with your actual boss, right? Your boss and your manager, that person probably is the way that they are because that's what they learned. Maybe they learned it professionally, maybe they learned it personally, maybe in all their jobs they were treated the way they are treating you. It doesn't justify in any way. It doesn't mean that you are able to, to say, oh, I forgive you, right? No. But you can see that this person is acting and has come up and appeared in your life with a whole bunch of baggage and a whole bunch of past that make them act in a way that they do. So don't take it personally, because it's never personal. That's very important. It's never about you. It's just the bad luck that you bumped into this person and this person is in charge of you. You can even think about colleagues, right? That are bad at their jobs and that are affecting your job, right? It's just the way they are. You can't do anything about it. So it's not about you and you can't do anything about it, right? In regards to that. We would love to be able to do things to our bad bosses, but those are just fantasies. That's never going to happen. It's about working with ourselves. So if you would like to comment about your situation, remember that complaining doesn't really help, but maybe your situation can help other people who are in a situation where they are with a bad boss, right? Where they're suffering because of bad boss. So feel free to comment. And if you have been able to do this reframing in your professional life or in any other situation, please feel free to tell us about it. Before you leave, if you are interested, I hope that this video has been interesting and helpful for you. I am very open to your comments and also suggestions. And if you have found this helpful, feel free to go to my website and sign up for my newsletter. In my newsletter, I talk about these subjects, other subjects, similar subjects about how you can become more empowered, how can you become more powerful in your life, and there are different things that we will be talking about. I also share other articles and stuff of the sort, but always looking at helping you to fulfill your highest dreams, may it be professionally or personally. Okay, so if there aren't any questions, this is the end of this talk, and I will be back in 2 weeks on Thursday. I'm not sure what date it is, so 2 Thursdays from today at 10 a.m. Amsterdam time, because as Rich pointed out, I wasn't saying where I was. So I'm here based in Amsterdam, 10 a.m. Amsterdam, every other Thursday I will be back, okay? Thank you so much. Oh, I have a message. It says, you're wonderful and you're doing good to do. Oh, thank you so much, Rich. I'll put my website here, and I hope to get you, hope to see you there on my newsletter. Thank you so much. Bye, have a great day.